Good morning! We're about to start a week living with the Jeep Wagoneer. We have spent time with the Grand Wagoneer before, but this time it's the regular Wagoneer. We kick off with a very gloomy, rainy day, impending snow and ice rain, but currently it's not too terrible yet. So let's hop in the Wagoneer. And the important thing is this one has the all-new twin-turbo Inline-6 Hurricane, which is a new powertrain available for the Wagoneer lineup and other Dodge, Jeep, FCA, Stellantis, whatever you call it now. There you go. Open up the trunk, throw my suitcase in because I am off to New York today. Let's go. Button here on the side for closing the trunk. Woo, that is cold and windy. Holy crap. So the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer are the full size, although full size almost seems like an understatement because these things are massive. They're the new SUVs in the Jeep lineup. The Grand Wagoneer is extremely luxurious, competing against the Navigator and Escalade. The regular Wagoneer has some nice touches, but is not quite as opulent. So we've got the Wagoneer lettering up front on the hood, the signature 7-bar Jeep grille. You notice it doesn't have a Jeep badge up front. It doesn't need it. That grille is enough branding to indicate this is a Jeep. A lot of nice chrome bright work pieces here over this dark gray exterior. We got Jeep Performance LEDs up front. These are 22-inch wheels. See, look at the size of this vehicle. These 22s look tiny. Got the Wagoneer lettering on the side with the American flag. These look like fixed side steps. Yep. We'll check out the interior later. And then it just keeps going and going and going and going. It's huge, right? It's very boxy in the back. This is like my least favorite angle of the Wagoneer. I think the Escalade and Navigator have a better rear design treatment of a vehicle of this scale and magnitude. Wagoneer lettering out back. It has Quadra Drive 2. And this one is a Series 2 L. Oh, that's why it's so massive. This is the L. Yeah, I thought it looked really big. So, long, L, large. It's just even more enormous. They stretch it, just like you have the ESV and the Navigator. What do they call the Navigator? Extended wheelbase? L? Big? Massive? Yeah. This is the L. I'll start up screen there. Since 1941. It's cold. Ooh, okay. Oh, first difference you'll notice on the Grand Wagoneer, there's another screen here for your like seat controls, massage everything. This is now just a retractable cover for your portable wireless phone charger. Oh yeah, looking back there, yeah, this is cavernous. It just keeps going. It's like a quarter mile from me to the end of the vehicle. This is indeed the long wheelbase, the big boy. Gonna turn on my heated steering wheel, heated seats for sure. Also, it's cold seats. Don't need those because it's cold outside. Digital cluster here. All right, off to work and to the airport we go. Super quick 48-hour trip to New York to see the new Ferrari Purosangue and spend some time with my younger brother back in Chicago. We're back in the Wagoneer. While we're here in the airport parking lot, we've got a couple other SUVs for a quick size comparison. I think this is a GLS, and then there's an Expedition Max. So the Wagoneer makes even the GLS look pretty small. The Expedition Max is the same size class as the Wagoneer, and since that's a Max and this is an L, they're both the really long ones. Really massive frontal area for the Wagoneer. Let's come around to the side and the back. Yeah, this thing is huge. Yeah, that is a GLS. It looks tiny in comparison. Wagoneer looks even taller than the Expedition Max. Those are big SUVs. Thank goodness for remote start. It is cold with this big Wagoneer puddle lamp down here. Steering only nice and warm, that's good. Heated seat is going. We're about to head downtown for dinner with my younger brother. Flew back in from New York this morning and to downtown Chicago we go. So we're gonna take the Wagoneer. Now, heading into a more major city, downtown, right? Chicago's a pretty big city. Parking is always a challenge, and it's especially a challenge when it's something this big. I was actually this close to booking a parking spot in a parking garage right by the restaurant. And then I realized the ceiling height clearance was like 74 inches, so I was like, that's not very tall. And I quickly Googled the height of the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, and it's like 75.6 inches, so that would not fit. So be careful when you're parking in structures. You gotta be aware of that because it is a big, tall vehicle, and this is also the L, right? So it's extra long. So it'll be interesting seeing how this thing does in terms of parking and space. It's just like having a pickup truck, right? My Ram 1500 was also massive, and it was just a pain in the butt to park when you're downtown. Something to live with when you need this much space. But it's just me going downtown, so now I could bring a family of 5, but I don't have a family here, so it's okay. But I'm meeting my brother, so I just, anyways, whatever, let's go. Holy crap, this is stressful. This is too big. Whoa, and that BMW is moving very quickly. Okay. And now we have to find a parking spot to put this absolute behemoth of an SUV into. Yeah, that's not gonna fit. Oh boy. All right, I found a corner spot. Obviously no passenger needs to get out, so I'm all the way over that way, trying to park a Wagoneer in a parking structure, just like cacophony of sensors beeping at you. But I think this will work. Also, I don't see a way to fold the side view mirrors in, which is a little bit annoying. You just go left, right, you can toggle them, and there's no way to fold the side view mirrors in. I think they may be, or is it manual? Ah, it's manual. That doesn't really help me. All right, so we finished dinner. It's starting to snow outside, and it's time to get the Wagoneer out, and you can see this thing is just absolutely enormous. Like, I can't go much further forward because of the pillar. I found a little corner spot to wedge in. So this is relatively impractical for city living. I would not recommend it. But now we get to watch it. What? Hi, Henry.
Hey.
Hi. All right, let's go. All right. It was easier to park when there wasn't a car next to me, but now, yep, I know. I'm close to, oh. Holy crap. Dude, I
told you this was gonna be difficult.
Dude, the wall is so close. What the heck? This sucks.
You need me to get out?
No, I'm okay. I'll figure it out. This is worse than like my truck was because it's so much longer and it's just a big box. Ooh, yep, okay. I had to do like 4 3-point turns just to get into the space. Don't take the mirror out. Okay, I think we're okay.
Oh boy.
Go.
This car makes a lot of different noises.
Well, cause like I'm
so
simultaneously about to hit every single like wall at the same time. Ah! You also can't make the turn too sharp because in the back we'll smack into something because this is an extended one. Okay. All right. That only took 5 minutes. And there's a Macan coming. Oh, Jesus. This is officially the most stressful vehicle to take in a parking structure. Ah. It took me a 3-point turn to make it up this turn, too. Holy crap. Yep, beeping. Yep. Ah!
Please wait.
Yes. Success. Success. Oh my god, it's so, the mirror is so close. Oh, okay. Don't curve the wheels, wide turn, and out into the snow again. Oh, hello Tesla. I will drive over you, get out of my way. We do have various drive modes down here we can toggle through, but I have it in auto right now. And with the way the roads are right now, that should be able to handle it totally fine. It's actually snowing pretty hard, so let's go into snow mode. So we toggle up 1, go from auto into snow. You get a little animation in the middle. It's pretty nice. Great. This is just great. Can it be somewhere already, please? The roads actually got a little bit sketchy there. It is snowing quite hard, but the Wagoneer in snow mode handled it fine. Made it back in this gigantic land yacht of a vehicle. It's Friday night. I am pretty exhausted. 48-hour trip to New York. Finally back home for the weekend. Gonna get some rest, and we'll pick this video back up this weekend. We're trying out something fun with the Wagoneer. We got Mr. Extalgic here with some new toys.
Yes.
suction mounts for roller shots, and we're going to take the R8 out and use the Wagoneer as the camera vehicle. So the enormous Wagoneer L is going to be our camera vehicle for the day. It is good that this has air suspension, so it rides pretty good.
Oh, perfect.
For something the size of one of these townhouses. It's absolutely enormous. Look at, again, other vehicles for scale. This is a Hyundai Genesis. You would probably not see it behind the Wagoneer because that's how big it is. Yeah, it's a big one. I'm gonna clean it off because after all that snow yesterday, it is filthy. I just had a fantastic dinner and was gifted a bottle of wine, and this is, again, do not condone any sort of consumption of alcohol in driving, nor are you allowed to legally transfer open alcohol containers in a vehicle, but a bottle of wine fits in the cup holder of the Wagoneer. So
I think that's 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? I want to note that this bottle of wine is closed. It is completely closed. I've had no alcohol today, but I was gifted a bottle of wine and it fits in the cup holder of the Wagoneer. That is a new Wagoneer capacity test for cup holders. That's how big the cup holder is. An entire bottle of wine fits in there. Now I'm going to move this because for some reason I feel like this is illegal, even though it's closed and sealed and I'm not drinking anything, but it just feels weird to drive around with a bottle of wine in your cup holder. Tonight I am being forced to do random living with tests, which I guess I should be happy with. Wagoneer L through a drive-through to get ice cream at, what is it?
It's Andy's. It's frozen custard.
Okay, whatever. Frozen
and
sweet things.
It's 10 p.m.
It's 32 degrees!
That's why we're staying in a warm car.
Oh man, okay. It fit through the first part of the driveway, or drive-through, whatever the thing is. Andy's frozen custard, not a paid product placement. 32 degrees and we're getting ice cream.
Custard!
Heated steering wheel is on, heated seats are on, although I hate these touch buttons with a passion, right? When I get in, it definitely, because when you first get in here, I'm gonna turn everything off, it's just dark, right? So like you click here, you click there, there we go. It always takes me 1 to 2 clicks to turn on with these stupid little touch things right there. So I am not a fan of that in the Wagoneer. In the Grand Wagoneer, this would rotate down as the actual screen, but here is just emptiness. This would control your seats and things like that. So there's nothing there. Wireless charger is down there, but not a fan of those capacitive little touch thingamajigs on either side of the screen. All right, we're gonna get some frozen custard. Just spent a good day in downtown Chicago, and I just found a big parking structure and put the Wagoneer L into it and walked around because this is too big to try to valet or find different parking spots. It's a pain, especially just given the size, right? This thing is huge. The L, the long wheelbase, adds 7 inches between the wheels and length, and overall length is a foot longer than the regular Wagoneer. This thing is bigger than an Expedition Max Lincoln Navigator, bigger than a Suburban or an Escalade. It has just so much volume, and if that's what you're looking for in terms of passenger space, cargo space, the Wagoneer L is quite competitive. And unlike some of those other brands, right, if you look at Expedition and Navigator or a Suburban / Tahoe versus a Escalade, there's a lot of differences, whereas the Wagoneer L and the Grand Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer L, they stay fairly similar. They just remove a couple key points to make this more mainstream and slightly cheaper versus the very ultra luxurious 6-figure plus Grand Wagoneer. We do need to spend some time talking about the powertrains because that was one of the big things. Getting to spend a week here with the new 3-liter twin turbo Inline-6. It's named the Hurricane. The Hurricane Inline-6 is FCA, Jeep, Stellantis, whatever they call themselves these days, but the Mopar family, I guess, transitioning away from big, naturally aspirated Hemi V8s to forced induction and downsizing. And honestly, with this powertrain, you're not losing much. So the Wagoneer has a base 5.7 Hemi V8, and then the Grand Wagoneer comes with a 6.4. Now, you also have the twin-turbo Inline-6 Hurricane, which in base trim in this Wagoneer L makes 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque. You can uprate to a 510 horsepower and I think 500 pound-feet of torque Hurricane more power, Hurricane plus. That's in the Grand Wagoneer, but this twin-turbo Inline-6 is pretty smooth, provides plenty of low-end torque, and is a little more efficient. Efficient seems a bad word to describe this 3-ton land yacht because it still doesn't get very good. I mean, I'm averaging like 15. Like, it's not the most efficient vehicle, but in terms of powertrain, power delivery, smoothness, all of the things combined, this twin-turbo Inline-6 is definitely a good powertrain, even in lower power form in this Wagoneer L. In terms of the lineup, I believe every long wheelbase comes standard with some form of the Hurricane Inline-6, depending if you're a regular or a Grand Wagoneer, and then you can option into the V8s again. I think that's how it works. And then obviously the non-long wheelbase will come with just the gas V8. So, quick little tidbit on the powertrain: 8-speed automatic transmission. This one has a 4-wheel drive, it has air suspension. With that, we're gonna start the truck. We're gonna head back up home tonight, and we're gonna be wrapping this up tomorrow with some more final thoughts. I still owe a thorough interior details tour of the Wagoneer L. It's gonna take me a while because it's massive. We'll do it in the daylight. Oh, today is a very wet and rainy day. At least it's not snowing. Remote start. The Wagoneer. All we do is double tap that. It's also got the nice Wagoneer lettering there. It's like covered in leather. Pretty nice key fob. I think it's the same as the one in the Grand Wagoneer. And then we have 2 buttons. Looks like one to lower the vehicle. Like entry exit mode because of the air suspension. Will it go down? I think so. And then this one opens the trunk. The interior cabin space is absolutely cavernous. So this is the 3rd row folded down, and look how much space there is. Just the size of these rear windows gives you a sense of just how much you could fit inside this vehicle. It's truly impressive. We have buttons here, so 3rd row. Can I make it go back up? I'll move this, and then we'll press this button too. So that's 3rd row up, and even with the 3rd row up, that's the benefit of going for the long wheelbase. You still have so much space back here. Like, you'd fit a lot of big suitcases if you're traveling on a trip. So that is definitely impressive. Quick tour of the interior up front. So we've got an Alpine sound system for the Wagoneer. I think it's 10 speakers. It's nice, but not quite as nice as the Macintosh system in the Grand Wagoneer. We have this wood trim, or maybe fake wood trim, across the interior. Also pretty nice, but again, you can't match the Grand Wagoneer, but it's still a nice touch. This is the infotainment screen for the Wagoneer. The Grand Wagoneer has one that's slightly bigger, but this has wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. And then in the Grand Wagoneer, there's another screen down here, but this just becomes a cover that slides up. You do have some physical buttons for toggling your climate control and the volume knob, tuning scroll knob, but these are just plastic. On the Grand Wagoneer, these are like really nice machine metal. I already complained about those touch buttons. The one thing that does carry over is the transmission selector knob, and this is still metal. So it's really nice quality. This nice machining on the side. You can hear that. This is very premium in this SUV. Exactly the same as the Grand Wagoneer. The mode changing toggle, your air suspension toggle, see it went all the way down to entry exit mode. If you're driving in regular mode and you reach a certain speed, it'll also drop for more aerodynamic, so it'll show you in the cluster that you've reached aerodynamic ride height mode. This is the digital cluster. Again, I think the Grand Wagoneer is just a tiny bit bigger, but it looks pretty similar. You can change through all sorts of different pieces of information here across all these different tiles. You'll see I'm averaging 14.3 mpg, which is to be expected at something of this size. Wireless phone chargers in here. I'm gonna go ahead and put my phone down in there. It's just this massive space. Lights up blue, it is charging. Massive center console here. I really like the space on top. So it's got the sliding cover, got some USB ports, and you can just put things, I put keys or like sunglasses go in there, close that, open this up, and it's just enormous center console, cavernous. Seats are pretty comfortable, heated and cooled, no massage on this one, heated steering wheel. I do like the 2-spoke steering wheel, just like in a Mercedes S-Class. That's really nice. Got some more of that trim on there, Wagoneer. It's pretty standard, everything else on the inside, very familiar if you've been in the new Grand Cherokee L, Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, everything here. So yeah, that's the front of the Jeep Wagoneer. Have a pretty big panoramic sunroof too, if I can open that. Let's see. Open for a very rainy day. That's glamorous. In terms of pricing, I didn't get a proper window sticker for this one, but a Wagoneer L with some of these options starts in the 70s, and this one may be actually optioned up into the 80s, which is quite a lot of money. But if you look at how much a Grand Wagoneer costs, I mean, a loaded Grand Wagoneer Obsidian is almost $120,000, definitely well over $110,000, and the fact that this is pretty much the same thing. It's very, very similar on the interior. They just take out some content. The exterior looks almost exactly the same. You have the air suspension on this one, the 4-wheel drive. You can get the twin-turbo inline-6 Hurricane. So from that regard, this is much more price competitive than some of the other American rivals from GM or Ford. Do I think it's worth it? If you need a big vehicle with a big family, a lot of cargo space, yes. Like I could move my entire house in this vehicle. It is absolutely massive. It drives pretty good given the size. It is difficult to maneuver when you're in a parking lot, but it's got some of the nice touches and features, the tech specs, some of that type of stuff. So from that regard, I think the Wagoneer is pretty impressive, and that twin-turbo inline-6 is definitely a nice step from the naturally aspirated V8s. Watch this. When you're parking, you do have overhead view camera, the 360 view along with various camera angles, but the sensors, so you see the yellow like topography map shape and then the vehicle with the surround. As you get closer and closer, it beeps, it beeps. When it becomes red, you see the topography also turns red. Adds to it. Pretty cool. I think I've mostly covered my closing thoughts on the Wagoneer L. I didn't fully utilize this vehicle this week. I didn't fill it with 6 or 7 friends to test out the passenger capacity. I didn't go to Costco and buy 800 rolls of toilet paper to test out the cargo capacity. It is absolutely massive, and if you are looking for that, it's the best in the segment. It just has so much interior space, so much volume, especially in long wheelbase form. My main focus this week, I wanted to see what that Hurricane twin-turbo inline-6, because that's the new thing, right? That's the inline-6. And my takeaway is it's got a good amount of low-end torque, it's pretty smooth, and even in the base power output, it's a good powertrain for this very large family SUV. The air suspension is great, the all-wheel drive system, 4-wheel drive system was great, even in pretty serious snowfall when I was coming back from Chicago that one night. It handled that totally fine. It is big, but my big other takeaway is the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer are pretty close in terms of the overall feel, right? You just get way more over-the-top luxury touches and tech in the Grand Wagoneer. You get the extra screens and the massage seats and the fancier trim material. So if that's what you're looking for, the Grand Wagoneer is truly competitive with the Escalade and the Navigator. The Wagoneer, for a more relatively mainstream as we can get for $75,000, $80,000, this is pretty good. It's massive. I don't need something this big. I don't even remotely need something this big. It's stressful to park your parking structures, but if you have a big family, consider a Wagoneer L with the twin-turbo inline-6. I think I would take the Hurricane over a base Hemi V8 because it's just a little bit more efficient and makes a good amount of torque. With that, we conclude my week living with the Wagoneer L. Make sure you go check out the Grand Wagoneer videos too. That one was even more ostentatious. It was a lot of fun too. Thanks for watching.